Because if you start to look at that long-term picture, you fall over at the next game.
What was I going to say? I just brain farted what I was going to say there.
So for a professional sportsman, for the players, they just got to focus on next job.
Right, let's talk Pro de Deux, which is full bore now till the end of the season. And Joe Worsley there at the Stade Amédée Domenech looks all right there, Joe.
Yeah, this time of year in France ain't bad, huh? It's not too bad.
Not bad. And you're obviously hoping in weeks to come that place is going to be full and bouncing and possibly there for the playoff games. That's the aim. How were things after the weekend just gone?
Away victory is always precious in France psyche. The players really love that away victory. Change rooms are buzzing place. The bus trip home's a buzzing place. And people get even more excited about getting into the semis direct. So you get into those semis direct, you've got a home semi-final. So a home semi-final here with the place full to the rafters, the atmosphere through the roof. That's what everyone wants to do. That's the objective in this next 6 games until the end of the season.
Is it always a bus, by the way? Because obviously France is a very large country. Is there times where you'll hop on a train or a plane?
Because Brive's right in the middle, often bus is the easiest way. I think they have flown down to Nice. They flew down to Nice because it's that far. And there's an airport nearby. But buses are easier, put it that way.
As Joe mentioned, 21-17, Brive got the win against Montauban. That puts Brive back in the top 2, partly because Provence, whilst they were away as well, and so maybe a defeat wasn't a total surprise, the manner of the result and the way that went. Valence Roman 63, Provence 7. What's going on?
Yeah, they're saying phrase a couple. The prime brale. I won't translate that, but they really got hammered, huh? Valence are a really good attacking team. We're playing them this weekend. We've been watching them a lot over the last week. They are a very good attacking team. When we went there, they put 40 on us. The worst defeat of the season. So they can hit their straps, and they got some really good players, despite having one of the lower budgets in the league. So they're doing something right there. But also, it was one of those games. I saw some of the tries. You know the way the ball bounces in someone's hands and just one player flicks the ball back, interception. There were, I think, 3 or 4 tries like that. So it was a bit lopsided, but Valence did play really well as well.
And they're going to be dangerous because, I mean, it's an outside, very, very outside chance that they could make the playoffs. But they have won. They were down in the relegation zone earlier in the season, and they've now won 6 out of their last 7 in Pro de Deux. They're on the march.
Yeah, they are definitely. They score a lot of points. They're engaged. They're motivated. They're a team who are going to be dangerous here this weekend. So I'm holding. I mean, will they bring their first team? Will they bring the second team? We don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But either way, both teams, when they brought them, they've competed hard and been close in every match they played.
As you said, those away victories are precious, and we saw some other of the teams that were more fancied going down to away defeats, Béziers and Grenoble as well.
Yeah, I mean, Grenoble losing Agen is quite a big one. They're playing really well this season, but they had 2 away games and just lost at the death the last 2 away games. So they're still a magnificent team and still doing well, but the league is competitive. You can see that.
What is I don't know, what do the players chat about, or what do you say in meetings about the bun fight? Because it is so tight, and as you've already said in previous videos, those top 2 spots, and as a very minimum 3rd or 4th, so you're at home in the first playoff game, it's just massive.
It's huge. So the players do talk about it. In France, they probably talk about it more than we used to do in England. They think we want to target this next block of games, you want to go there. But you quickly got to park that. That's your motivation that drives you in the background of your mind, day on, day out, to push yourself in training, push yourself in the gym, and of course, push yourself in the games. Because if you start to look at that long-term picture, you fall over at the next game. You don't focus on what's happening in front of you. So for a professional sportsman, for the players, they just got to focus on next job, next thing, next day, next hour sometimes, as opposed to having that long-term vision. You do talk about it. It gives you that motivation to keep going, keep working hard. But you've got to be so careful not to take the focus away from what's about to come down your face in the next match.
And we were talking about, last week we were talking about selection and how you manage that. It was a pretty strong team that Brive put out away at Montauban. You'd imagine you're going to go fairly strong in front of your home crowd. Do you change your training patterns at this time of the season?
the training patterns don't change. You might rest some more players as the season gets on. Certain guys would get rested more, as especially the older players might get more time off. But really, you don't want to change too much what you're doing. Slow evolutions in training is the only way you go as a rugby team. Hopefully, you've got a good training regime in place, and you only change finite points of that. Okay, how long you go for in the session, the intensity levels. Because if you're changing radically, it probably means you weren't doing the right thing in the first place.
I've got to ask about Courtney Laws, because Andy Farrell was asked about players that are based in France, and he said he's got a short list of players or a long list of players, 75 players for his potential British and Irish Lions squad, and he would not rule out any player that is playing in France. Courtney said before he even went to Brive that he would love to, but he thinks that would be a long shot. As someone that's been in that situation and just like Courtney been on a tour, do you think just purely being in Pro de Deux is giving him a platform where he could even potentially make it?
If he's got a relationship with Andy, maybe. You know his qualities. He's an incredible ball stealer, good line out. He brings so many things to the game in one player, which is quite rare. There's maybe there's a couple of Irish players who may be close, but who are playing currently in the Six Nations, which might scupper that. But he's an incredible player. For us, he's been amazing. Listen, what he needs on that Lions tour will be intensity levels above what you have in Pro D2. It'll be above what you have in top 14 in the English Premiership. But he's someone who can adapt, and they got 8 games before the first test, don't they, to get ready for it. So if anyone could do it, he could do it. But like I say, if you're out of the international window, it's quite a long shot to pick someone.
Joe, one thing I'm curious about with Pro de Deux, whenever I watch it, it's really noticeable across French rugby. There's a little bit more emphasis on attack. In Pro de Deux, maybe more than anywhere else, the maul is a massive factor. What is the style of rugby as you get to these drier, firmer pitches, the money matches? Will that shift a little bit?
Yeah, they do talk about winter rugby in France, where you need to restrict how you play due to the conditions, which is common sense. But there is a definition about that. They talk about it. And the maul traditionally in Pro D2 and French rugby has been a huge thing. Maul scrum. Some teams it actually holds back because there's such an emphasis on those two areas. A lot of coaches still have that even subconsciously in their brain making decisions for them. So the ball in play is a bit less because you have more scrums and mauls. So it slows down the intensity of the game. Whereas some teams, it would suit them more to have a high intensity game. Teams like Valence, who don't have a massive, powerful pack and can ball people off the park, for them, it suits them to have the ball in play for 38 minutes, not 32. It suits them to have the ball in play and be playing phase after phase, be it in defence or attack. So I think French rugby's changed a lot in the 10, 12 years I've been here, away from that slower, power-based game into this faster, attacking, rip people to shreds at the right moment game. Obviously in top 14 it's further down the line. In Pro D2 it's still a thing, because if you've got a massive pack, in Pro D2 still people will take that classic option, penalties, territory, slow, kick the points, kick to the corner, maul it over the line, which again, some people love it. I like it in for a little bit, but not all the time.
Well, I think Brive are probably an example of a team that are using that sometimes as a blunt instrument. Yeah. I mean, I forget the name of your hooker. He's got so many tries.
Yeah, Luca da Silva.
Yeah, so many tries. Just
he's a Portuguese Parisian. I think he's top try scorer in the league. But yeah, we're a good example of a team. We've got a powerful pack. We've got one of the biggest budgets in the league, and that buys you power. Okay, when we go to top 14, hopefully go to top 14. Other teams get more money than us, more power than us. So if you go into the top 14 with the game plan working as we do here in Pro D2, it won't work, because you're going to have these powerful teams up against you who can counteract that. International level, South Africa, that powerful team. England used to be able to compete with them. We can't anymore. What's plan B? You've got to develop it to be able to take on these teams. Otherwise, you're not going to really win many games against them.
And I think that's what, just to mention on Brive, from my perception on the outside looking in, is you can use that power, and you have done. But actually, as much as anything, a maul ties 16 men in close together, and that creates the space elsewhere that guys like Driddy have lapped up.
Yeah, exactly. So a good maul is a very good attacking weapon. However, if you're concentrating so much on that maul and not thinking about when the ball's good, we'll play. A lot of people think about winning the penalty, and if you're thinking like that, often it slows down the ball coming out of that maul. Players are thinking about winning a penalty, so they only give the ball back to the 9 when it's dead and nothing's on. This is the problem you have. So the maul's got to be a weapon. You understand, we could win a penalty here, but above all else, as soon as they get down to one forward in the back line, you should be thinking about playing, because as soon as they get down to one forward in that back line outside of that maul in defence, that's when you can tear a team to shreds, because the space is everywhere.
Oh, I could talk about this all day. And if you're still watching, you're obviously as much of a rugby nose as we are. So hit subscribe on that button down below. Get stuck in with your comments. Give the video a thumbs up. And, while the Champions Cup is on this weekend, keep an eye on the Pro de Deux as well, which gets underway. The Thursday night game is Biarritz, Montauban. And then Joe's Brive up against Valence Roman on Friday evening. In a whole host of games, Provence Dax, the late game there. Joe, nice one. What's your next session?
Day off today, so tomorrow we got our speed session, which is an intense, shorter session.
Lovely job.
Voila.
Right, we'll see you on the next one.